on the Raider Nation? It's your boy Dub Raider. Welcome to another episode of the Raider Nation Weekly Wire. Happy New Year, Raider Nation. Our season is over, but to console us is my brother, Chris from Protect the Shield. Chris, welcome back, brother. I know this past month actually has been, a whirlwind with family, with vacations, with just the holidays. So, we kind of took a little step back, but I'm glad to be sitting here with you again, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. I was definitely glad to get back on here with you, man. And honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, I won't even say bittersweet. I would just say it's sweet that the season's over.
Yes.
So we can kind of be able to talk about, some different things, man. Kind of talk about what the future is, and instead of dwelling on the past so much. So I'm glad to be back on here, man, and ready to talk some ball with my boy.
And what's crazy is that this isn't new for us. It's been happening for ages already.
Right.
But for some reason, this year felt different.
Right.
It felt worse. It felt heavier. Like the losses felt harder. Did you get that same feeling from this season, or was it just kind of like, okay, another Raider losing season?
No, absolutely. It felt heavier. I think, it just didn't feel right from the beginning, and that's why I had such a negative, outlook on it from the very beginning. And everyone was saying, "Oh, Chris, you're being a hater. Oh, Chris, you're being negative." I was like, I just felt it early on, man. I was like, This is not good. Yeah, and usually, I'm all about going to all the going to a lot of games, and then this year, this is the first year that I was just like, man, I'd rather just go on vacation, go somewhere else. Like,
that's right.
That's right. And I've never been like that. I've always, went to 3, 4, 5 games a year. Living in Ohio, that's quite a bit of an investment. But this year I was just like, I couldn't get behind it, man. It was, you can just see the writing on the wall. Just a lot of dysfunction early on, and I called it. And I'm not here to say I told you so, but so many people was telling me I'm a hater and I'm being negative.
Right.
And they even and they didn't even do the expectation I thought they were going to do. I already put the bar low. They didn't even reach that low bar. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and speaking of which, let's jump into our first topic, which is basically what we're going to be doing. First and foremost is we're going to do the end of the season review. We're going to talk about how the season went. Obviously, as Raider fans, we know that this season was horrible, probably one of the worst in our history. But we want to dissect it a little bit, not as deep as the war room per se, but just kind of get a general understanding of where our season went and why it went the way it did. So the initial topic is our initial expectation versus the actual outcome. And like Chris just mentioned, when Chris and I, during the off season and the preseason, we had been talking about what we thought the expectation of the Raider record would be. I think it was like a 8-win season, being that it would be 100% better than the season before. Chris, you didn't even give them that much, right?
Right. No, because honestly, originally right after like the draft and stuff, I was with you around 8. But once I started seeing how OTAs and training camp was, and then we started making the trade, like the Jacorian Bennett trade and stuff like that,
right?
And how things played out with Christian Wilkins. Yeah, I went down to like 5 wins.
Yeah, so you actually called it, man. You are our version of Vegas.
Right. Right. But even I was wrong. So I was like, okay, we can at least get 5. But little did I know.
Yeah, and it's sad because I also got a lot of I don't want to call it negative feedback. Like, no, the Raiders are doing good. We got Picaro. And I'm like, no, I don't see it.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding, and they haven't shown anything yet. On paper, anything and everybody can look good, but our team, because of our history, they need to prove it, and they definitely did.
Yep.
From the initial to the actual, your numbers weren't too far off. Mine were kind of distant from each other, but do you feel it was more based on the team dynamic, the coaching dynamic, a combination of both? Where do you think affected our team with
it
this
was
big gap
to me.
in
It was a combination of both. But I think that originally I thought our draft was going to be okay because there was a couple players I was excited about. I was definitely excited about Darian Porter. Definitely, I was excited about Thornton as well. But I think that we made a lot of bad decisions. With the personnel. I think, with the coaching, everyone knew I was not a big fan of Chip Kelly. I was okay with Pete, so I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like I didn't want Pete. I was okay with us getting Pete, but yeah, it was just, some of the stuff that the coaches were doing, and the players. You can blame coaches all you want, but the coaches are just calling the plays. Players still have to execute. Guys were still, not giving full effort, missing plays, things like that. So it's definitely a combination of both. It just wasn't good across the table.
Yeah, to me, it just seemed like just from the start when they picked up the coaching staff, Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, and then Pete Carroll bringing in his sons.
Yeah,
that situation didn't really. I didn't really see the effects until later in the season, because usually, from my understanding, is whenever a head coach comes in, he comes in and he picks his staff.
Yeah, picks his guys,
and that head coach is brought in by the general manager.
Yeah,
but the way it seemed that this year they were puzzle pieces just put in together. It's kind of like a square peg in a triangular hole.
Exactly.
Mark Davis wanted this dude. Tom Brady wanted this dude.
Exactly.
And it wasn't fitting. They were trying to make it fit. And mind you, again, on paper, it looked great. Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
The names look great, and then you're bringing in his family and whatnot. So it definitely looked good to at least my eyes. But then I don't know. It just, as soon as the preseason started, it just seemed something was not there. Something was amiss.
Right.
And yeah, we won the first game of the season, but I never really count that game as a true game. That's kind of like a practice run, like a post preseason game, which is kind of like a scratch game, because it's the beginning of the season. Adrenaline is pumping. Players are excited. They're either, if they're in a new team, they're learning their roles, learning how to play with the opposing players that they've never played before. So it's kind of like a time when players get into the groove, and that's usually the first quarter. So winning that game, yes, it was exciting. It was a lot of fun, but it really didn't tell me much. And of course, after that game, we started seeing the chinks in the armor, and oh man, and then listening to you and the rest of the guys in the war room talking about that stuff. I'm like, man, I don't want to believe it. I'm like, it looks so good. I don't want to believe it, but the signs started coming out, and man, I don't know, man. I just feel that I started feeling demoralized very early in the season.
Right.
And I didn't want to, because we do this. We're supposed to, uplift and motivate and inform, but kind of like sitting here and be like, well, yep, we sucked again. It's kind of difficult to continue that.
No, it definitely is, because the biggest thing is we saw a regression in a lot of players. Like, one thing about all the good teams that are trying to rebuild, like, those year 2, year 3 players, like, you want to see them to continue to progress. So like, I was so excited going into this year of, hey, JPJ at center, year 2, he ended the season last season, pretty well. Once he took over at center, you could see a difference in that offensive line. So I'm like, man, he's going to come to his own in center this year. And Glaze, I was like, okay, Glaze in year 2, he did pretty well. In year 1, he was up and down before a rookie. I'm like, he can definitely bounce or use that as a springboard and take a big step up. But you look at those guys, they just got worse. They literally got worse. Like Palomar. It's a lot of guys that they got worse. They regress. And it's like, even our kicker, Carlson, got worse. It was like, what's going on?
He was a sure thing.
Yeah.
But so he started off horribly.
Yeah.
And then in a contract year for him too.
Exactly. And that's,
through my experience, that's when usually players stand out.
They're trying to get that back. They're trying to get that back for sure.
Yeah, but the regression was definitely there. So for our next topic, what went wrong? like you were mentioning, it's a combination of coaching and regression of play.
Yeah.
But is it kind of like what came before what came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it coaching that caused the play, or was it the play that caused bad coaching? What do you think, Chris?
I think that, you got to put it on a lot on the coaching, because from the very beginning, we're putting people out of position. We're preaching all about this competition, but it seems like there wasn't really competition, only just on certain players and things like that. So, and like you said, it was like you could tell the team was not on the same page, whether it was the front office or the coaches. Like Pete Carroll, which I understand, Pete, has been a winner. Hearing a rebuild at his age, he probably has a lot of confidence in himself. Like, hey, I'm not here for a, 4, 5, 6 year rebuild. Like, I'm trying to win now. Whereas, Spy Tech and some of the other front office, like, we have to kind of do things for the future, and really build this thing up the right way. We can't just put a Band-Aid on it. So you can tell by the moves and even how they approach free agency, they just weren't on the same page. Whether it's, Spy Tech or Tom Brady or Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, like none of them were on the same page.
And even like, let's say, for example, if Pete Carroll obviously had that compete, win now mindset, but if he showed at least a diagram or a plan of somebody taking the reins after him, like he's starting the building blocks, but for somebody else to take the reins in 2 to 3 years, I think I would have felt more comfortable.
Yeah.
But him and Chip Kelly, it just, man, it was like water and oil.
Yeah.
They just didn't mix. And that didn't give me a sense of confidence to think, oh, our leadership is going to take us far, because there was something there. They were amicable. They didn't really talk a lot of smack directly.
Yeah, but you could
but
tell.
Something was there. Yeah, something was there, and I'm like, oh, man. And that's a whole reason why in my mind I was like, you know what, Pete Carroll's not our guy. He needs to go. I like Pete Carroll. I had been a fan of his since the SC days. Yeah, because he brought us those championships here and great games. It just, for the longevity of our team, he just definitely was not the answer. He was, I guess, quick Band-Aid, and not even a Band-Aid brand. It was more like a 99-cent store Band-Aid.
Adhesive strip.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. It was definitely a horrible experience with those coaches, and I'm actually glad it's over now. I'm glad we're done with that.
Yeah.
Now we ended the season in I want to say somewhat of a high note. We got the number 1 draft pick, next Giants, and we beat the Chiefs at home finally. Even though it was a preseason game lineup, but a win's a win, right? We had a great time over there, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, man, it was. I'm definitely glad it's over. But now comes the more important question, and which is our next topic. Now what? Yeah. Now what do we do? What does our team do? In your eyes, Chris, if you were the general manager, what would you do with our team after seeing what happened last season, or this season just passed?
See, the thing is, I'm probably about to say some things that you're not going to like, and I know a lot of the viewers aren't going to like.
Give it to me, brother. Give it to me.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I mean, because the thing is, man, we have to really rebuild this thing the right way. We cannot put no Band-Aid on. There's no quick fixes. We're not going to be able to bounce back after one draft. And people always give these examples of other teams and things like that. They're not us. We continuously have bad drafts. We have different coaching systems and philosophies and different type of players from like 3 and 4 different regimes. So it's like, it's not even, so we're scattered all over the place. So, I know Raider fans they're not going to want to hear this, but I'm taking phone calls for Max Crosby. I'm absolutely taking phone call, because my thing is, we have to get a foundation of young, good players. And the thing with Max, I love Max to death. He's a true Raider. He is a heart and soul of our team. But the Vegas Raiders and Max Crosby are on 2 different timelines. at the age that Max is going to want to start being in some games where he can compete in January. He's ready to get in those games now.
Because he's what, 27 years old, right?
Yeah, probably something like that. Yeah.
What's the average age of, or the peak age of a defensive end? Is it about now?
So he's definitely in his prime now, for sure. He's definitely in his prime. But you got to think, once you start getting, around that 30, 29, 30. And the thing with Max, this is what, 3 years in a row he's had season-ending surgery. But you could say that he didn't necessarily have to get the surgery. At the end of this year, he probably could have played through it. But still, he's having to get surgery at the end of the year. And I'm not saying that he's injury prone. I mean, Max is just a badass. That's what he is. But Max's superpower is his motor. The dude just doesn't stop. He's relentless. He's just a monster. But as we know, Father Time is undefeated. He's undefeated. So regardless of how much of a physical beast you are, the way that Max plays, like wanting to play 100% of the snaps, that's crazy.
Can't do that.
Like Myles Garrett doesn't do that. TJ Watt doesn't do that. Lawrence Taylor didn't do and I love Max for it because he's so dedicated. He bleeds silver and black. But the thing is, unfortunately, Max is not going to be playing in any meaningful games in January while he's wearing the silver and black.
Yep.
And I hate that for him.
Yeah, I definitely, as a fan, obviously, I see the total opposite of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Max has to stay. He is definitely, he's a Raider through and through. I don't want to see him leave because he is probably one of our few leaders that are still left on our team. And if we're going to rebuild, we need leadership like his. We need examples like him on that team. That way, there's something to exemplify, something to look up to. But then on the other side of the coin, as looking at it as a player of his caliber, that obviously players of that sort want to win. Kind of like what happened to Khalil.
Yeah.
He was a high caliber player, went to the Bears. Now he's seeing some sort of success with the Chargers. And you want to see that for this type of player.
Yeah.
So I understand that point to where being that he's coming to the peak of his career and it's going to be a downward slope, he needs to be given that opportunity to excel, to succeed, to win, to know what it is to be a champion, not just play like a champion, because he definitely plays like a champion, like a Super Bowl caliber Hall of Fame. But I totally understand your point. It's just, again, that yin and yang,
Yeah.
As a Raider fan, hell no, we need him here.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel that. But then you think it's like, okay, we've had Max for however many years.
Yeah, like
I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah, something like that, like 7 or something. But from every year that we've had Max, only 1 year have we had a defense that was ranked better than 24th while he's been on the team.
Right. So he's not really making a difference on the team. He's looking good as an individual player.
Right.
No, and I totally understand that.
So ultimately, and again, now if he wasn't on the team during those years, we'd probably be 31st or 32nd. Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a monster at what he does, and it's unfortunate we have not given him the proper help. And it's a crime. It's a crime.
It is.
But and shout out to my boys from the War Room. We always talk about it. Max will never be more valuable than he is right now. His trade value is probably at the highest it's going to be, because once he starts getting 29, closer to 30, it's like right now we probably can get multiple first round picks for him. At least I think we can. Some people may debate and say we don't. You kind of look at the compensation that Micah got. I think we could get, at least 2 first round picks for him, if we wait, because remember, a lot of people didn't want to trade Carr, but there was at one point, there was reports that the Indianapolis Colts was willing to give 2 first rounds for Carr, but everyone was so emotionally attached to Carr. Oh no, you can't do that. Just imagine. And again, it's hindsight. Who knows what we would do with those picks, we probably would have picked 2 bums. Who knows?
And that's our problem.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, we get all these picks, but we don't know what to do with it. It's like a teenager going to a strip club for the first time. He doesn't know what to do.
Doesn't know what to do. Got all this money, but don't know what to do. Exactly. And that's what it is. So, I definitely would say that. And of course, we got to get the right coaching staff.
Yes.
We got to get, a leader in there, someone that can get the most out of our offense, our defense, and just as a team. There's a lot of different schools of thought on, which direction we should go.
Right.
But again, we got to get the right leader. And then, and we have to knock this offseason out the park, man. So many times we go to free agency, whether it's Coupon Tom, he doesn't want to spend that much money. He wants to be cheap, at a certain point, because the thing is, especially coming off a season like this, everyone gets mad, like, oh, how come we didn't get this free agent? The free agent has to want to come here.
Exactly.
So, and we're always in that situation where for certain names and bigger names that want to come here, we got to pay them more.
Yep.
So yeah, we may have
our team.
Exactly.
Especially our team, because we don't have the shiny bright team that players want to come to.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
We got to drop that money.
Exactly. We got to drop the money. And then, little things like how the whole Christian Wilkins thing played out. A lot of people were like, oh, get him out of here and all this. And I always was telling people, be careful how you treat some stars, man, because these guys talk to other people in the league, man. So, you think about, the whole Christian Wilkins thing, how, all that unfolded. You think about how we the smear campaign on Devontae when he left. But granted, people can think however they want about Devontae. Think about how we treated Josh Jacobs when he left. So it's like little stuff like that, man. Other stars across the league are like, man, do I want to go to Vegas, man? Like, look what happened to X, Y, and like, there's not too many success stories of free agencies coming to us and really doing their thing and, taking their, career to the next level. So, it's tough, man. So that, and sorry to be so long-winded. And then of course we got to knock the draft out out the park, man. We can't just be taking all these risks and these project players. We got to get best player available in any position. Like the year we took Brock Bowers, he was the best player available. Get the daggone best player, because we need help across the board. There is no position that we are so good at that we can just be like, no, we don't need that position. Get the best player on the freaking board.
But let me ask you this, because my understanding, best player available, sometimes kind of like what happened with Brock Bowers, sometimes we already have a high caliber player at that position. What if, let's say, for example, the best player available is another tight end? Would you want to get a tight end or a best player available on a position of need?
In our situation, anything besides tight end, we can use an upgrade. Seriously. It does not matter what position it is. In the first couple rounds, it's a little different because the value is different. But but when our name is on the board, when it's our time to pick, man, we need to get the best player available. For our particular system that we're running, because depending on, whether it's zone or power, whatever we're doing, whoever's the best player for, our style of play.
Right.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Cause, that's the next topic I wanted to go into. But before that, I know this topic is pretty short. Did you see any positives from this team and these players at all?
Man.
I'll take that as a no.
Well, not much. Honestly, not much. But not much, man. Because a lot of our rookies, to me, they underperformed. Now, I will say, okay, if I had to give a positive, some of the rookies that finally got a chance to play towards the end, they showed a little more upside than I expected. Whether it's Caleb Rogers on the line or Charles Grant, those guys showed a little bit more than what I thought. Cause I'm not gonna lie, I was not a big fan of Charles Grant at all. But looking at some film of him the last game, and again, he's not playing against the best talent, but at least he looked a little better than I thought he was gonna look. So that. But besides that, I can't, because everyone regressed. everyone regressed, man. And to me, Gentie didn't live up to, the standard I have for him. Besh, or second rounder, didn't. Or third.
Going back to Gentie, because obviously at the beginning of the season, they weren't giving him an opportunity to run the ball. He'd run once and then they'd forget about him. And then another opportunity here, another opportunity there. It was very sporadic. Towards the end of the season, when he actually they started getting a roll with the running game, he showed, I want to say, ability.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Do you think that that's enough of a positive to give us some potential for next season once we have like a good offensive line?
Yeah, no doubt. Once we get a good offensive line, I think that can unlock, Gentie's skill set. Absolutely. And again, when I speak on Gentie, I'm just not as high on him as a lot of people are, but I don't hate the kid. I just feel like I know what type of caliber player he is. He's not a 6 overall talent. But he can be a good player. He could be a good piece. Like, once you get the pieces around him, he could be a very good running back. He absolutely can. But can you put the team on his back and expect him to do things that generational running backs can do? I don't think so. He can't do what a Saquon can do or Barry Sanders used to do, LaDainian, like stuff like that. But that's why it's so key to get the right players in this draft and offseason where you, like next year, where we can get the most out of Gentie. Give Gentie some room, give him some room to be able to, make some plays. He'll do it. I think he can do it. Absolutely. So when I'm critical of him, it's just because, he did not, and I don't think he ever will live up to a 6 overall pick.
Right. Yeah, I personally can't really judge negatively a lot of these rookies because they weren't given that opportunity. They were kind of like little brothers, like, sit down and shut up and let us do our thing.
Yeah.
And then once there was no other choice, okay, you guys can come in now.
Now they throw them. Some of them,
when it was worthless.
Yeah.
But during that time, again, the competition wasn't as difficult as maybe early on in the season.
Right.
But they showed something.
Right.
So there was some promise. That's where the positives I saw. But would I say that I have a high expectation for them? No, I don't.
Yeah.
But definitely there's something there, and hopefully our front office and our future coaching staff sees that, and they're able to do something with it.
Yeah.
Because our team definitely needs it.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I saw nothing positive from the team.
Yeah.
Nothing whatsoever. So
yeah, and it sucks, man. And it sucks.
Yeah.
We love our team, and it sucks that we have to kind of dig that deep to try to find something to be excited for, unfortunately.
Yeah. So next topic, looking forward to the draft. So again, if you were SpyTech, you're on the clock, you have free reign. Who would you get?
Again, I'm gonna make people upset again. I'm a believer of, if there's a quarterback there that you just fall in love with, that you just feel like it's gonna, take the team to the next level, you get him. You get him 100% of the time. 100 out of 100 times you get him. I don't believe that you get a quarterback just to get a quarterback. I will keep saying I don't think this is a strong quarterback class. Everyone's very high on Mendoza. Mendoza is a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he is a safe quarterback. But is he someone that I would want to take first overall? Me personally, no. I would rather trade down, get more picks. I really love what the Texans did a few years ago. I like what the Browns did this last year. I know they weren't number one, but just the way, they were able to trade and get a couple picks later and then pick up another pick, I think in the second round. And then they picked up another first round pick. And honestly, I think when it's all said and done, the Browns actually had the best draft this year, because they drafted, the defensive rookie of the year. They drafted Mason Graham. They got a great tight end. So they to me, they're set themselves up for a good future. And I would love to see us do something like that. So I'm team trade back. It all depends on what's being offered, but I want to set the stage where we get all the weapons we can, where we can get us a star wide receiver, get some line. And again, it's hard to say what I want us to do without knowing what we do in free agency. But I'm just kind of all blending it together. But I just want to get all the weapons we can. So when we do finally get that quarterback, because next year I think is going to be a much better quarterback class, going to be similar to what last year's was, or not last year, but 2 years ago. Yeah, when it was, Caleb Williams, Jaden, Drake May, they had 6 quarterbacks in the first round. I'm not saying that there's going to be 6 next year, but they'll probably
more than this year.
Absolutely. So, and then if we had 2 first round picks next year, we could maneuver that draft and make some moves, go up and down. We have some firepower, and then we bring a quarterback into a team that already has some weapons around them. So so that's how you do it in my mind. But a lot of people don't agree. But it's you can pick your poison, I guess.
No, and I totally understand and agree. I see your point, because me personally, I don't know much about Mendoza other than he's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's been balling out, because I don't really follow college football.
Yeah.
And more same thing. That's why I'm actually today, because we're recording today Friday, I'm actually going to go watch the game.
That's going to be much watch TV. Yeah. Must watch.
Yeah. To go see what they're all about. But I'm more on the same side as you, as trade back, get more, because we have so much need. I understand that having that leadership of a quarterback is detrimental, but I don't feel confident enough, with my knowledge, of course, of Mendoza or more. I don't feel it.
Yeah.
To where we can fill other gaps, have a stout offensive line, and we could put, somebody back there for the meantime until we're able to get that quarterback of our future. But if we do get Mendoza or more, I won't be mad either, because again, I don't know much of them.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go through a situation where we're kind of worried of the outcome. If the team wants the quarterback, go for it.
Right.
But give them the right tools to succeed.
Exactly.
Don't just put them out there and say, go. You're a number 1 draft pick. Do something.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
And to me, that's what the Titans did with Cam Ward. And
yes,
and I think and it's like Cam Ward, to me, Cam Ward's a special talent, man. And he flashed it this year, but I mean, Cam Ward didn't have a wide receiver 1, a wide receiver 2, didn't have a real running back 1. His line was bad. He didn't have a good play caller. And it's like, regardless of how you feel about Mendoza, without a line, without wide receiver, all this stuff, it's going to be tough for anybody to be successful. And granted, everyone's like, well, just get them in free agency. The thing is, you don't win and lose, or you don't win by just winning free agency. Free agency is used to kind of, get some pieces, and, if you need to kind of, get some players to take your team to the next level, but you don't build your team off of free agency, because they're too expensive.
Yes.
It's too expensive, man. So, you got to draft. And that's one thing I love about like how the Eagles built their team. They built their team by guys that they drafted and they developed. That's what the Ravens always do. They draft guys and they develop them. That's how teams have sustainable success.
But one important thing aspect that is involved there is time.
Absolutely.
It requires time to develop. You can't just grab a player, go.
Absolutely.
You have to develop them. You have to get them comfortable with the game.
Absolutely.
And we don't do that.
No.
We're like, okay, we got you number 1, go. Do your thing. Show us what you got. And we need to develop these kids.
Yeah. And one thing that one thing you've been big on, you've been even bigger on it than I have, is, and we never have no depth. We never have no depth, ever.
That's right.
It's like if something happens to somebody, then we don't have no one behind. Like, we have no one on the shelf. So, but again, I'm not even worried about depth right now. We just got to get a good 22 first, man. Like, we got to do it. Yeah. So, okay, outside of the number 1 draft pick, again, your spy tech, you gotta get your coach. Who would it be right now? Man, a big part of me really would say Harbaugh, to be honest. Really, there's a lot about Harbaugh that I like. For one, just him coming from an organization that has always done it right. Like, Harbaugh has been, and some people are like, oh, it's going to be Pete 2.0. Absolutely not. He's not a Pete 2.0 because, for one, he didn't take a couple years off or a year off. Like, he's been in it. He knows structure. He's been with the same team. He saw how the front office works. He's been around probably the best front office that you can ask for. Ozzie Newsome, who probably will go down as one of the best GMs and front office people ever. Just the way that he drafts and things like that. Of course, I'm not going to give Harbaugh the credit for the drafting, but Harbaugh and the Ravens have always developed their players. They've always developed their players, man. They get their draft picks, they develop those guys, and that's what we need, man. We need a leader, someone that, I think players are going to respect.
And he definitely has all those in spades.
He has all of it, man.
Yeah.
And shout out to my guy, Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson, he told me that, or he even said on my interview with him that, John Harbaugh is one of the best leaders that he's been around, because, Hugh Jackson was on Harbaugh's staff, and he was actually the one that mentored and developed Joe Flacco. So,
right.
Yeah, Harbaugh has always kept good, smart coaches around him. It's just he knows how. Like, I'm just a fan of him. Like, yeah, I can't even call it a bad year, because as a Raider fan, I would have loved to have the year that the Ravens had. Right. But Ravens, they have such high standards that, hey, that's failure to them. But I would take him all day. So I'm sorry for the long-winded, but that's who I'd go with. If not him, I'll go Brian Flores.
I definitely feel you with Harbaugh. The experience, the character.
Yeah.
There are so many variables that make him a definite high potential for head coach that I would love to have him. And again, if we do get him, I wouldn't be mad. But then I also think back of all our experiences as a Raider organization and as Raider fans with veteran head coaches in the past, let's say, decade. They haven't really been very good. I don't remember many coaches that have been like rookie coaches that we've actually started or hired in recent history. 10, 15 years ago, we had, what's his name? I think Lane Kiffin, right? He was an assistant. And
Kiffin. Yeah,
head
Kiffin.
Coach and,
that was,
so
yeah.
we've had that potential, but we haven't done it since. Just again, like a lot of people are saying, well, we haven't picked the number 1 draft pick and a quarterback since Jamarcus Russell. So let's do it again. So I want to see youth. I want to see what youth can do with our team. Youth leadership, because again, we need to start looking at longevity and not just, a quick Band-Aid. So I'm kind of torn between, the Harbaugh experience and then the youth experience, the fresh blood, the fresh ideas, so I can't be mad at either side.
Yeah.
I just want the best thing for our team and obviously for us as fans.
Absolutely.
It's been a long time, and it's been hard, but you know what? We're still faithful, which is all that matters.
Yeah,
definitely matters.
And the thing is, and I think a lot of, and I definitely respect what you're saying, because the thought of it, having like a nice, young, youthful coach with innovative, ideas, because a lot of people think of like the Sean McVays of the world and even what
right.
Ben Johnson has done. But for every Ben Johnson and Sean McVay, there's a, like when Matt Nagy first came, he was a young coach. He was 39 years old. Cliff Kingsbury, he was 39 years old. Adam Gase, he was 37 years old. Josh McDaniels, his first time, he was 33 years old. Those are all guys that, were supposed to be the innovative, young, and it didn't work, so, I don't know. I just have... This offseason to me is so pivotal, because if we screw this up, man, like we're going to get to the point where, cause we're already like, even from a statistic wise, like since the last 20 years, I think we're the second losingest organization. Like I think if we mess this up, like we're going to go damn near another, I hate to say it, like, another damn decade of just dysfunction, because this could be a franchise altering off season if we play it right.
Yes. Yes, and hopefully John Spytek and I guess Tom Brady start making the right decisions, because we definitely need them.
Yeah.
And going on to the final topic, which is what about the Raider Nation, us as fans? I definitely think that we need this more than we needed it in any other year.
Exactly.
Reason being is we still haven't been able to accrue the fandom necessary from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
The Aces did it in WNBA. The Golden Knights did it in hockey. Why? Because they became champions early on in their career in the city. We're showing up here with losing season, and we're just continuing. So there is no excitement for the Raider Nation in the stadium. You know, when they do the Star Spangled Banner, there comes a point in the song where the whole stadium, or the Raider fans in the stadium, scream out "Knights," meaning the Golden Knights, right? Yeah. So their effect is in our stadium, at Allegiant Stadium. So we need it as Raider fans. We need that positivity. We need that change. We need that 180 pivot to where we need something to cheer about. Because let me tell you, man, you know, it's you and I are probably more on the lukewarm mentality, to where we're more realist and don't get excited immediately when we hear a prospect name or the new shiny toy of the week. You know, we're more of show and prove. Right. But we definitely need that change. And the reason why I bring this up is I was at Allegiant Stadium for the last game of the season against KC. Didn't want to go, didn't have plans to go, but I couldn't get rid of my tickets, season tickets. So family and I jumped in the car and took off.
We'll go. Yeah.
So it ended up being a really good weekend, because we got, not because of the team, because the team actually did something good. We got the dub on field goals and a safety. A win's a win, but just being with the Raider Nation. We got there Saturday. There was a couple of brothers and sisters celebrating their birthdays from TNBC Las Vegas in Twin Peaks, I think the place was called. Oh, yeah. And you know, it was great. It was great hanging out with the nation. Anybody and everybody was there that attended. And then Saturday, then we went to what's that place called? The nightclub at Fremont Street at the Golden Nugget. Oh yeah, you know, it was jam-packed, brother, jam-packed. It seemed like we were gonna go to a playoff game. There were so many Raider fans there. Yeah, it was an amazing experience, just hanging out with the Raider Nation, taking pictures, drinking. You know, it was great. And then the tailgate, the tailgate was a little light. Yeah, areas that the Raider Nation were at, oh my God, man, it was just, it felt, I'm not gonna lie, it felt like Oakland. Yeah. Might have been just one little row, but it felt like Oakland. It was such a great experience, such a great vibe that the Raider Nation was feeding off of each other. And then going into the stadium and seeing Brian all in on him win. Fire. Get to light the torch. Fire, yeah. The Al Davis torch for completing those 2 Guinness World Records, which, by the way, he's doing it as a representation of us as a Raider Nation. Yeah. It was an amazing experience as well. And then a celebration afterwards. So I think that all that deserves the other side of the coin, which is the team, the administration, to step forward, because we've been losing for 20 some odd years, but we're still here.
Still here, man. Clear.
We need them to reciprocate. We need it.
They got to hold up their end of the bargain. We're putting in our hard-earned money. Like, we're not millionaires. I mean, I know you're close, Dub. You're close, but me, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a millionaire like those Raider players are. Like, they got to do. Yeah. They got to hold up their end of the deal, man. We work hard for our money to go to these games and travel and all that stuff. And the Raider fans, Raider Nation, we need it, man. A lot of people complain about, you know, us never having home field advantage and stuff like that. A lot of that is because we don't win. Remember the year when we won that game to get us in the playoffs to the Chargers? You know, I think it was 21. You could hear it on TV, like, you know, when Carr called that timeout. It was crazy. Were you at that game? Yeah. How crazy was that? Like.
But here's something funny though. This last game, right, in KC, there were tickets going for $45. Prime seats, 300, 200 section. It was all KC.
That's what I'm saying.
It was still maybe a 60-40 breakdown.
Yeah.
So I hear a lot of Raider fans were like, "Oh, the tickets are too expensive." I'm like, "Well, it wasn't then. Yeah, might have been an insignificant win or an insignificant game.
Yeah.
But be there, show that. Okay, look, there is a possibility.
Yeah.
If you guys win, there's a possibility that more Raider fans will show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not even then. But what are we showing them?
Exactly.
So I don't know, man. But is there anything positive that you want to tell the Raider Nation for next season on what kind of mindset to go into next season?
Just Raider Nation, it's going to be hard. I'm always going to keep it 100% thorough with you guys, yes, man. It's going to be hard. I wish I could come up here and say, just hang in there. Things are going to be okay. I don't know if things are going to be okay, but we have no choice but to stick together and watch this thing through. The reason we're Raider Nation is because we love this team. At the end of the day,
sure.
we just have to cheer them on and hope that they make the right decision, but also hold them accountable too. I think that's what a lot of fans don't understand. It's like, just because we criticize, we're holding the team accountable. If they don't want to put a good product on the field, don't show up. Don't feel bad about it. Hold the team accountable. That's all there is to it. But going into this offseason, I'm hoping that we make the right decisions. Again, this is a very pivotal offseason for us. Again, we have to make it right. Whether you want to have a whole lot of trust in Tom Brady and whoever, they just have to get it right. And eventually they will, but we just got to hang in there the best we can. And again, it's accountability. If they're doing something we don't like, it's okay to talk about it.
Yes, sir. All right, Raider Nation, we went a little long this episode, but
we had to catch up.
So there was a lot to talk about. There was so many things. Actually, I think we could keep on going for another hour or two, but that's not the way we roll here at the Raider Nation Weekly Wire. But Chris, let them know of where they can hear you for a few hours talk.
Yeah, man. Chris with Protect the Shield podcast. You can catch me on all platforms, but I'm most active on YouTube, of course. So I always have my show with my brothers, 805 Raider and the Severe Raider. We're every week and we do it all year. So even through the off season, we're going to bring you content, even when it's hard, even when it's tough to talk about stuff. We're going to break down, film of prospects that we like. We're going to break down all kinds of stuff. We're going to break down the ins and outs of the coaches. That's what we do, and we make it fun. So, if you enjoy, kind of that type of stuff, man, definitely check me out on Protect the Shield podcast.
Yes, sir. Don't forget to check them out. You will be finding this episode on Chris's YouTube page as well, where we figured out a way to be able to put it on both sides. So, you can check them out, like, subscribe to Protect the Shield podcast, and check it out there as well. And for myself, Raider Nation, as you know, we do the Raider Nation Weekly Wire. I'm going to be doing Stogie Nation this off season with none other than the Violator. He and I, what we're talking about after
you're going to do it every week with him?
No.
Just an episode. Okay.
We're gonna do it sporadic because he lives close to me, but not so close.
Okay.
So we're gonna be doing cigar lounge reviews in our area. So we're gonna be hanging out. Just meeting up, maybe like once a month or so. And just doing a cigar lounge review. But Violator's gonna be in the house with Stogie Nation. Also, we got the Raider Nation roll call right now. I just actually been communicating with Brian all in on a wind to get the interview with him after the record, because I got him before he started his world record in the middle of the process, and then I want to get at the end and see what it was all about and bring it to you, Raider Nation. And obviously, I'm going to be interviewing more booster clubs, content creators, different businesses, just anybody and everybody that is pertinent to the Raider Nation subculture, to let you know about them. And, if you ever want to reach out to any of them, hang out, or, see what they're doing, that's what we're all about. We're about promoting the Raider Nation and the Raider Nation subculture. So again, Raider Nation, thank you for being with us again. Chris, thank you, my brother. It's great being with you here on this show again. And Raider Nation, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow to both Chris Protect the Shield and myself, Dub Raider. Social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
OnlyFans.
Just follow. No, not yet. Not yet. But yeah, Raider Nation, remember, everything we do is for the nation, by the nation.
Raider, let's go, Raider!